Imagine this, a brand new international body, created in what feels like the blink of an eye, and it's designed to solve the world's most difficult conflicts. And the person in charge? Donald Trump. Now, this isn't some hypothetical scenario. Today, we're going to break down this very real and very controversial new organization that is already making waves in global diplomacy, the Board of Peace. On one hand, supporters are calling it a nimble, effective alternative to the slow-moving diplomacy we're all used to. But on the other hand, critics, well, they've already slapped it with the label Trump United Nations. So what's the deal here? Is this an innovative new model for peacemaking, or is it a move that could completely upend the global order as we know it?
All right, to figure that out, we first have to get a handle on what this organization actually is, and how in the world it came together so fast.
Okay, so the Board of Peace started as an idea in Trump's plan for Gaza. Its official job is to oversee the post-war transition there. But, and this is a big but, its ambitions go way beyond that. Its charter is written in a way that allows it to tackle conflicts anywhere in the world. And Trump himself has even said it could, and I'm quoting here, take on the functions of the UN if it has to.
And what's just wild is the speed of it all. I mean, just look at this timeline. It goes from a simple proposal at the end of September to getting a nod from the UN in November to being a fully chartered organization by late January. We're talking less than 4 months from an idea to a reality. That kind of speed is pretty much unheard of in international diplomacy.
So, how does this new, super-fast organization actually operate? Let's peel back the layers a bit and take a look at its pretty unique structure. Well, right at the top, you've got this incredibly centralized command. This is nothing like the UN's collaborative style. The board's charter gives the final, unilateral say on everything to just one person, the chairman. And get this, the first chairman, Donald Trump, holds that job for life, unless he decides to step down. That kind of concentrated, permanent power is a massive, massive departure from any international body we've ever seen.
And then you have the membership model, which is, well, it's very transactional. Any nation that gets an invite can join as a standard member, but for a cool $1 billion, a country can buy itself a permanent lifetime seat at the table. The administration says this is to make sure only serious nations are involved, but critics are just calling it what it looks like, pay-to-play diplomacy.
So here's how it's all stacked up. You've got 4 tiers. At the very top is the main board, made up of the heads of state from member countries. Right below them is a hand-picked executive board. Think figures like Marco Rubio and Tony Blair. And they're the ones driving the global strategy. Then you've got a specialized board just for Gaza. And at the bottom, you have the people on the ground, the technocrats and security forces doing the day-to-day work.
Okay, so all of this theory, all this structure, it's now facing its first gigantic real-world test. Let's look at the incredible challenge the board is taking on in Gaza. The board's to-do list in Gaza is just immense. As you can see, they're in charge of everything, from watching over a new administration and managing billions in Reconstruction money to providing security and enforcing disarmament. Basically, they're the high-level project manager for the entire post-war effort.
And the stakes here, they couldn't be any higher. Starting with the human cost. The conflict has left a devastating toll, with the death count climbing past 70,000 people. That's a number that's hard to even wrap your head around, and it really just underscores the depth of the trauma that the board is stepping into. Then you have the physical destruction. The board has to manage the removal of an estimated 60 million tons of rubble. To give you some perspective, that's like the weight of about 3,000 fully loaded container ships. It's an almost unimaginable cleanup job. And finally, of course, the price tag. Rebuilding is expected to cost over $70 billion. This is a monumental financial undertaking that's going to need decades of investment, all of which the board is now in charge of managing.
So, with a challenge this huge and a structure this new, how has the rest of the world reacted? Well, you probably guessed it, it has created a massive diplomatic split.
And you can see that divide really clearly here. In the yes block, you've got the US and key allies in the region. But the no block is just as telling. It's full of America's traditional Western partners. We're talking France, Germany, the UK, who have all said no thanks, at least for now. This quote from Germany's foreign minister really gets to the heart of the concern from these traditional allies. They basically see the board as an end run around the United Nations, which they argue is the only body with the, quote, moral and legal authority for this kind of global peacemaking. And then you have this crucial criticism from the ground. This quote from advocate Maha Husseini really highlights a deep fear among many Palestinians, that this whole thing is being forced on them, and that it could turn Reconstruction into just another tool of control, not genuine recovery. So all of this brings us to the most important question. What's the long-term game plan here?
Let's take a look at the board's future ambitions.
And this is a point you have to understand. This was never just about Gaza. In fact, the board's founding charter strategically doesn't mention Gaza at all. That's a huge tell that it was designed from day one to be a permanent global body. It's already being talked about as a place for talks on Ukraine and has been linked to other geopolitical goals, from the Middle East all the way to Greenland.
And in his own words, the big launch in Davos, Trump called it the greatest board ever assembled. I mean, that statement alone tells you everything you need to know about the massive vision he has for this thing and the high stakes he's attached to its success.
Which of course brings us right back to where we started. Is the Board of Peace a bold, new, nimble model for making peace in the 21st century? Or is its centralized, pay-to-play structure just going to create a more fragmented world where influence is sold to the highest bidder? The answer, whatever it ends up being, is probably going to define the next chapter of global politics.